下午好，下面由我代表。
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Three Gorges company, let me talk about the intelligent and joint dispatching of Cascade Reservoirs in the Yangtze River. It consists of three parts. First, Cascade Reservoirs in the Yangtze River, and with some basic information and overview. In the upper reaches of the Yangtze River, it covers 1 million square power bases or facilities with three gorges and one backbone with reservoirs and 5 important groups. And the Three Gorges group is operating 6 reservoirs, accounting for 75.4% of the flood storage capability for the upper valley of the Yangtze River. The Three Gorges group is operating 9 hydropower stations along the Yangtze River. 5 of them are amongst the top 10 biggest hydropower stations in the world. The Three Gorges group has a total of 7.5 million kilowatts of hydropower installed capacity, which is number 1. Second, let me talk about the capacity and result of intelligent and joint dispatching and its effectiveness. So far, we are putting in place a joint dispatching system, from information collection to meteorological forecast to dispatching planning and generation planning and the execution of the dispatch. It takes a host of steps based on our cascaded reservoir dispatching system, making better use of the water resources. We have put in place the biggest and most powerful automatic hydrological telemetric system. We have over 1,400 self-building or shared telemetry stations. Within 10 minutes, we can collect the observation data from missions so that we're always kept updated on the hydraulic information along the river. And thanks to our constant practicing and experimenting, we have put in place a meteorological forecast system, MFS. And we have put in place a very strong professional team able to provide short-term, mid-term, and rainfall forecast and long-term precipitation trend forecast. And the accuracy of the forecast is also ahead of the curve in the industry. We have also developed a hydraulic forecast system, HFS. It can provide a complete service for river runoff and reservoir inflow forecasts, including 60 river sections and 21 important reservoirs in the upper Yangtze River. The forecast accuracy is more than 98%, also ahead of the pack. Our intelligent dispatching system, IDS, is focusing on the cloud platform, big data analytics, and mining, so as to improve the decision-making capabilities for the cascaded reservoirs. And we have centralized dispatching and section-based electricity control. We have 3 centers in Kunming, Yichang, and Chengdu, each taking care of 2 hydropower stations, and all the data is centralized at the Cloud Service Data Center at the Three Gorges headquarters. And through customized setup, we can provide tailor-made services and configuration for different user groups. In terms of visualization applications, we have adopted GIS, two-dimensional and three-dimensional visualization, and basic information, forecasting result data, and cascade dispatching dimensions. Those data are and the data are visualized in a very vivid and direct way. In terms of big data analysis and data mining, we are focusing on improving data quality so that we can provide full life cycle management of the data. We can process data at a faster rate while ensuring data security. Over the recent years, in the dispatching of a cascaded reservoir, our effectiveness is, and let's take Three Gorges Reservoir, for example. Let's take a look at our success. In terms of flood prevention, we have carried out two dispatching operations to prevent flooding, effectively protecting 15 million people and 1.5 million hectares of farmland free from flooding. And in terms of power generation scheduling, by the end of last year, a total of 2 trillion kilowatt hours of electricity was generated, 20 times that of the total demand in Beijing. Hydropower is clean, without any emission. 2.1 trillion kilowatt hours of electricity is equivalent to 60% of the biggest forest planted in China. And it also helps with navigation. And we can see that since 2014, for 4 years on a row, the annual shipment topped 100 million tons. And every year we are supplying between 21 billion and 25 billion cubic meters of water to the lower reach of the Yangtze River, and increasing the depths of the navigation course by an average of 1 meters. And then the sludge and mud and sand are an important hazards. And we have initiated a sediment regulation program to provide real-time forecast for the sediment levels, so that we can carry out our dispatching operations in response to the sediment levels. We pay a lot of attention to ecological protection. From 2011 to 2017, we carried out 10 ecological regulation operations.
And in Yidu dissection, we checked we found out there's 1.8 billion eggs of fish, Chinese crabs, spoiled in Yidu dissection. Now, third, outlook. I will tell you about our efforts in tackling the 4 areas. First of all, climate change. Now, the forestation is about 2,000 kilometers span because of spatial distribution of rain, high temperature, flood, typhoon, such extreme weathers happen quite frequently. Secondly, the electricity market went through some changes. There's supply and demand problems. Third, in the reservoir area, we also try to make sure that sociological, social benefits and ecological benefits are all incorporated into our methods of treating the reserve. There's also the Cascade Reservoirs, river runoff chain operation. Over the past 20 years, our dispatch ability improved a lot. At the beginning, there's only single GZB reservoir, and then Three Gorges and GZB reserve are coordinated. And by 2020, as Wudongde Baihetan power station went online, Three Gorges become the center And all the reserves have been coordinated in a smart way so that the whole river basin can develop in a... We're focused on coordinating the dispatch mechanism along the river bases, climate, environment, ecological system, sociological factors will all be factored into the smart dispatch system so that humanity and nature can coexist in a harmonious manner. Water resources decision-making support system will focus on resolving the upper streams of Yangtze River, simulation of dispatch and also simulation of joint dispatch. We also conducted research on dispatching the series of reservoirs. We also came up with modeling of medium model of joint dispatch. We also assessed the models of forecasting so that decisions can be more scientific. That's all of my presentation. Thank you.